The city is situated in a valley some 5,000 feet above sea level, so the air is clear and the summers are simply gorgeous. In the heart of the downtown area, surrounded by swank department stores and hotels, you'll see a miniature golf course. Actually, all they do is cut. However, the land value is worth each grand.
What is up, everybody? Welcome into the DNBA live show presented by Illegal Pete's.
Turn it up. Turn it up.
These air horns are getting stranger and stranger, and I'm so for it. Very, very much for it. I'm your host, Adam Matas. I'm joined, as always, by Eric, D-Line Co.
Yeah, Friday.
Friday it is. It doesn't mean anything. I mean, it is Friday. But, seated to my bottom left, it's Brendan Vogt.
What's cracking, friends? I'm feeling the Friday vibes today.
Oh, look at him.
I'm feeling good.
And the man growing older by the day, by the second. The birthday boy. Is it really 29, Harrison?
Yeah, you know that's the wrong
It's 92.
number. That
It's 92, Adam. Those are
92,
backwards.
they floated around. Happy birthday, Harrison.
Thanks, man. Thanks, guys. What I would not do to go play some mini golf right now.
How weird is that video clip? We're like, right in the heart of downtown, there is a mini golf.
Well, there's actually a mini golf in the heart of downtown right now, currently.
Is there?
Denver, absolutely.
Yeah, there's a new mini golf thing in
It's not even new.
literally the heart of downtown.
I'm down to take it over as soon as
It's
allowed.
actually really sweet.
It's part of Skyline Park. Yeah, it's not new. It's been there for a few years.
Ready for a
No,
hot
there's
take?
there's a new one.
Oh,
There's
they've
like a
replaced
brand new
it?
one. No,
Oh.
like the heart of downtown, like Larimer.
Golf's
Oh.
ranked. Number
What?
4, golf.
Oh,
Number 3, mini golf.
golf.
Number 2, Top Golf.
Yeah.
Number 1, World Golf
WGT.
Tour.
Yeah.
WGT.
Put it on the board.
Put it up. Count it. But for real, actually, this Sunday we are starting off a new weekly World Golf Tour, DNVR Tour. Man, what are we calling this?
It's called the DNVR World Golf Tour. That's the name of the league, the entire tour. This is going to stretch on for a full season, and it's going to be comprised of tournaments that happen bi-weekly.
Yeah.
The first tournament this weekend is called the Grand Open.
I'm so pumped for this because I think it's one of those things that's actually going to turn out. It's going to evolve into something very, very cool. Because first of all, I love the World Golf app. If you don't have it, go to thednvr.com. Download it from our link because we're trying to get people to use our link. You get to sign up for our clubhouse, the DNVR clubhouse, and we'll do all kinds of cool stuff. But I'm actually excited for this idea because, like you said, it's all year long. We're going to create different golf events. So we'll have the Christmas Classic and when the Masters are on, we're going to have the Masters. Like, there's all these, you get to create this virtual character and then hopefully collect badges and shit.
Yeah, so many opportunities for me to beat you. I can't wait.
I've been addicted to WGT though. Like, I'm not a big phone game guy, but man, WGT's legit. It's legit.
Yeah, I was thinking that yesterday. It's been probably like 15 years since I played a game on my phone. Like, I have a PlayStation. Like, I'm an adult. Like, I'll play a real game.
Wait, 15 years.
Back on this.
But hold
I don't
on,
know, but
15
you see what I'm
was the
saying?
last
Like, I'm saying, like, what? Like, the doodle jump when I was, like, in 15 years in the stretch.
Yeah.
Like, 6th
I
grade.
was going to say that 15 years is like you
Blockman
playing
was
Snake.
sweet on the TI-84.
But yesterday I turned off Call of Duty to play WGT. And I'm saying I've never done that. with
wow.
a game.
Do you guys know what
Yeah.
a mini golf bar is?
Well, I mean, the one downtown, you can just mini golf, and then people will bring drinks out to you.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
not
wow.
there's-
Oh, it's
yeah.
like for
Sounds like my
adults.
kind of thing.
It's your word, Eric. It's an adult mini golf.
Exactly.
It is an adult mini golf.
Yeah.
And in this case, it's actually a positive because mini golf is really geared quite heavily towards children. I feel.
Oh, definitely.
But we should definitely put a mini golf course behind our bar, though.
Man,
You know what the greatest part about mini golf though? If you are an actual golfer, which I think maybe only Harrison might be. Are you an actual golfer, Harrison?
No, I'm
Okay, so
exclusively
that
a
leaves-
top golfer.
That leaves just me, the only person that actually golfs. So when you golf a lot and then you learn to read
Play
the greens
golf,
and you get
but-
and then you try to translate that to mini golf, it is jarring how little of it translates. It's like
Oh,
you
yeah, two
line
completely
up.
different sports.
Yeah, nothing in common.
In fact, neither of them's a sport. And we're off.
and we're off.
What a ridiculous take.
I'm with
don't
Brendan.
know.
Golf
Yeah, I
is
don't
not
know.
a sport. It's
What
an
a-
activity.
what
It's a
an
hobby.
abs-
It's a game.
What an absurd.
It's a pointless conversation, but I am with you on this like weird thing. The one thing I remember we talked about this a while ago. I played golf the other day as an old person, and it actually was strenuous. I was pretty sore.
It's very strenuous.
I was very tired. So I guess it is. The older I get, the more the spectrum of what a sport is gets wider. Shuffleboard quickly becoming a sport. Okay, not quite that old. Guys, we have a couple of fun things. I have a couple guests in the queue. I see Jarrett and Peter and
yeah.
Kate. We got a bunch of people lining up. We're gonna start bringing you into talk topics very, very, very soon here. But first topic is actually a sort of a real one. You know, Brian Windhorst and I believe Tim Bontemps today on ESPN came out with the latest report, kind of a weekly recap. Where are we now? And it seems to me that there's some momentum building for a decision. I'm not saying there's some momentum being built.
The decision part two?
The decision part two. Not this momentum building for like, oh, the league's coming back, but just momentum building for like, if it comes back, here's what happens, and then ultimately whether or not it's going to come back. You guys saw the article. I know we were all sharing it in the Slack today. I'll start with you, Harrison. Do you feel that's the case, that we're kind of like building towards a resolution one way or another?
Yeah, I get the sense that, I don't know, maybe in 2 or 3 weeks, the NBA is going to come out with something that says, yes, we're definitely going to try to finish the season. Like, they'll probably stay vague, but they'll probably come to that sort of declaration. But I don't know, man. Reading that article about what it would take to build this bubble city, I hate to be a pessimist, but it seems so far-fetched, man. It seems absolutely ludicrous that they could do this in the current environment that we're still in. Maybe things change in a month or two, but I just can't see them changing enough to have something like this be able to happen. It's crazy.
I watched... Oh, go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was going to say, this morning on Facebook or Twitter Live, I watched the Rakuten Monkeys take on the brothers of some other corporation in Japan. They're playing baseball.
They have weird names, huh?
Yeah. That's the craziest thing is
you'll
the
link
Japanese.
Me to that next Japanese baseball.
I will. But
the
and there were no fans in the stadium. There were a couple like cardboard cutouts, and
the cardboard cutout thing is really weird. Have you guys
real weird?
Pull on this. So rather than have empty seats, they think it's cool to just have fan, like you can actually buy a cardboard cutout of yourself.
Yeah, can I just like don't do that? Like save your money and don't do that.
But what they would do is like anytime some action happened, they would go to they had cheerleaders and they would go to like any kind of human face response, they would just flash to that, and it didn't really feel that different, honestly. It kind of worked. And the other great thing about, just quickly, the best part about the Japanese baseball leagues is that they're not bound by cities. Like all of the teams are owned by corporations, so the Rakuten Monkeys are the name of the team, and I have a shirt that I wear that is the I can't even remember anymore, but it's not like Kobe or Tokyo
for sure.
or whatever. It's all corporation owned. It
goes deeper than this though, because I've maybe told this before, but like I really like Korea. I've been 4 different times to Seoul. It's the culture is really weird, but one of the things that's the same there. Their teams are like LG and Samsung or whatever, and their chants at the baseball games are like, "We love LG." Like they have like advertising slogans that they'll like chant during the game. You know?
Oh God, I hate this.
It would be like just do it or something. You know, like it's pretty funny.
To add to Adam and Harrison's point too, like the league also has this extra pressure of the longer they go without making a decision, the more difficult next season becomes logistically as well. Like this timeline is already pushed up against the start of that regular season. So they might have to make one sooner rather than later. And as Harrison was saying, if that mountain is so steep to climb, but they still sort of have that pressure of a timeline, the conclusion might just be, hey man, let's just let this one go.
There's also like, so let's talk about some of these logistics, because some of it is stuff maybe you don't necessarily think about. First of all, in there, and this really is what kind of took me back, they mentioned Greg Popovich's age and Mike D'Antoni, and some of the that doesn't even say anything about some of the assistants on there, and you think, oh yeah, some of the coaches are like old enough
at risk.
An actual at risk. So you don't really think of that.
No,
you don't. And just the amount of people, the support staff. What about just the game ops staff, like the referees? What did it say in that article? They need like 50-something referees or whatever, like 100 referees to do this whole thing. Like,
are they all going to be 30? Because if it's a 50-year-old, 60-year-old guy on the court, you know what I mean? With athletes sweating, like that's a risk.
It's,
I mean, at a certain point, like
it's tough.
people are, but at a certain point, like all of those people are able. They all possess free will potentially. We can get really deep in that conversation. But if everybody sort of like wants to be a part of this and they see being at risk in that sense better than just sitting at home and us all sort of being miserable. I mean, I wish that I was in a position where I could.
Is that true for everyone though? Like if you're game ops and it's your job and you've been asked to go and like. You don't. No. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how this works. But.
I think that we are in a climate very certainly that no one would be pressured to do anything, and if they were, and then they reported that they were, I mean, the entire house of cards crumbles. But
what about players though? I mean, what about the ninth man on I don't know the Houston Rockets?
Team. Literally any team. Yeah.
Like what if he doesn't feel comfortable with this and he has asthma or something and he's at risk?
Yeah,
like he can't just sit at home while the Houston Rockets go battle for, the Western Conference Finals appearance.
And I was also glad to see
he's getting paid.
That quote from Adam Silver that showed some self-awareness of like what kind of a PR look of this too. Like we can't do this without robust and complete testing. But also like what kind of a PR look is that is if we can all get tests when many people can't right now, those who actually need it or are concerned. So it's just like there are a lot of barricades here beyond just like, the schedule's out of place.
The other thing is like these guys are all going to have to get tested before like they go into a facility, before obviously any practices start. And I don't know about you guys, but I have a very hard time believing, and I know this has not been a case, players have not been adhering to the social distancing guidelines. Guys are working out in gyms with each other. Guys are playing games.
Taking road trips with Kylie Jenner.
Yeah. There's a lot of like living in the bubble because like we all have various bubbles that we could kind of like peek into, whether it's relatives or whatever. And like you stay on Twitter for too long, and it's like, okay, everybody's in their house. They've been in the house. You talk to some other people, and it's just not the case. Like I could talk to an uncle, and it's like, but you're like, what the heck, man?
Just doing my thing.
Yeah, just doing my thing. Yeah. So some of these NBA guys for sure. Let's start to bring on some guests because we have quite a line growing on. If you guys want these Friday shows,
everybody's trying to wish me happy birthdays.
Yeah, that's probably what it is. So first guest in the stream here, Jarrett.
Look at that, the twinsies.
He's
muted.
Thanks for the heads up on what to wear, Brandon.
I love it.
This is really awkward. No, Jarrett, where are you calling in from, man?
Good old Thornton, Colorado.
Yeah, Denver. That counts as Denver.
Hey.
Tell Jeff we said hey.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Are you a Thornton High School guy?
No, my dad lives in Broomfield, so I went to Legacy.
Okay.
Are you quarantining with Jeff Morton? Yes or no?
Unfortunately, no.
Oh, what a bummer.
Not good for Nuggets trivia.
Yeah, for real. So what do you think, Jarrett? We're talking about, you've even seen there, we've been talking about just is momentum building. Just what do you feel like? You don't even have to be right. Just what do you feel like? Do you feel like momentum's building?
It feels like it's going back and forth with everyone. Everyone I listen to says like they've flipped a few times, and I'm probably in the same boat. I lean towards it's coming back now in like July or August. Because they set the Labor Day deadline, but realistically, if they're like, we can start in August, but it's going to go till mid-September, do you think football is going to stop them? If they have to.
I don't think the NBA is going to really care or pay a mind.
I think they say that, and they would ideally want to avoid that. But if it came down to it, and the finals were the first week of the football season,
they would do that if they.
Can you imagine if just every sport was in full swing at the exact same time?
If the DNVR bar is open, then I can imagine it.
Oh my gosh, I can't even wait! Holy cow!
4 different watch parties at the bar at once.
You know what? You know what's going to be sad though is like you really find out what people think about various sports, like when baseball is on up against football and then like nobody's watching it.
I think the NBA does have a nice little runway though, because I've got to think they're pretty resigned or have behind the scenes committed to the fact that next season's going to start on Christmas.
Right.
Like that's definitely going to happen, right? So they at least have that runway.
And it'll be interesting to see if they stick with that too, right? I mean, that's a format some people have been hoping to see anyway. So
So it's funny because I am so for that, but the more because I just think it makes sense not to go up against football and to go into the summer when nobody's watching. I'm like, yeah, this will be awesome. But the logistics of it as a reporter, or actually do suck. I
They
mean,
suck.
it really does mean
Yeah,
giving
they
away
suck.
your summer, and that's a real drag. And then the busiest part of your year being the summer, where it's like I can't just say, "Oh, I'm going camping." Screw
I
it.
think there could be
Remember
some
round
pushback
one.
from players from the same reason. They
They
want
love their summer.
They don't want
They're not
the
gonna
season
fuck
cutting
up
into
their
their
summer,
summers
right?
either.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of Scottie Pippen tweets.
Yeah, I'm not gonna fuck up my summer.
Oh man, he was so good. He says it's so like Scotty too. Are you enjoying that, by the way, Jared? Are you enjoying the Jordan doc?
Yeah, it's really cool. I'm also only like 23, so
Okay.
I was born in
23. Look at that.
Yeah.
Big MJ fan inherently.
MJ, yeah, Jordan year.
So I didn't really see any of this. Of course, I've seen highlights, I've seen clips, I've heard people talk about it, but it's cool getting an actual look at it.
So as a 23, because you're even younger than Vote, so I get to really pick in here. But like,
Somehow.
is this stuff? Yeah, somehow I never met anybody younger. But no, is this is it stories you already knew, or do you feel like you're gaining a lot more information about MJ?
Just listening to people, I knew the big ones.
Yeah.
They're obviously like the kind of more day-to-day stuff. I didn't know it all, but like him gambling, of course, it being a problem, or the battles they had the last year with all the teammates fighting.
I think about this with LeBron a lot, man, because like right now, if you were to tell 10 years from now, Vote, how is the story of LeBron going to go? There's going to be Game 6 against the Celtics. There's going to be, and I just keep thinking about. It's funny to me whenever I see like somebody will post like highlights, Dawkins highlights or House of Highlights or whatever. And it's like game 4 versus Indiana 2012. And I'm like, I don't quite remember this one. I watch it and it's like 50 points, 14 rebounds.
Right.
14.
Right.
I'm just like, this doesn't even make the list of games we remember LeBron for. And I think it's the same with MJ, where we all tell the same 10 games. Like, oh, and then he scored 63 and then he did the full flu game. And I just want the like random game 2 against some lower seed where he goes off and it's cool.
I also need a fact checker because I don't know, and I know a lot of this stuff is a little fudged. Like the 14-minute restriction, like not quite what was going on is my understanding since watching that episode. Yeah, I gotta someone it was like Ben Taylor tweeted this or something. Someone smart tweeted that like at the very next night MJ played 28 minutes. So like some of this stuff is a little you know, revisionist history, but it's all cool. It's all cool, you know.
Yeah. It is weird him coming back though. I mean that's another story that I knew, but I didn't realize that it was he went to North Carolina, just started playing, just like, all right guys, don't worry, I'll be resting. I think
he started doing it on his own.
When you watch old videos like this, and it's even more pronounced, I think, when you start talking about the 80s and Magic and them, but like just the absurdity of how the league operated was some of the Doug Moe stories are absolutely ridiculous, where it's like, you know, just how casual everything was. And one of my favorite Doug Moe's was there was a big blizzard, so he just went home thinking there wasn't going to be a game. And they called him up because he didn't think they can get out to Utah. I was in Utah that day. And they called him up and were like, Doug, where are you? We're waiting for you on the plane. And so he goes wearing his jeans and flannel, just like, well, I was trying to hurry. And I'm just thinking, like, can you imagine Coach Malone showing up an hour and a half late to the plane for a game in jeans and then just coaching in jeans and a flannel that
would
night.
lead ESPN. Like it would be like a disaster.
Time wasn't an hour away.
Yeah, I know.
That's a good point.
It is funny though. I mean, like we're all just a sliding scale away from. I think 11 Rings: The Soul of Success is Phil Jackson's latest book title, and he talks about his playing days. And it's funny to remember, like for most basketball players, professional basketball players, this was at times a second job, maybe closer to a hobby, right?
Yeah.
You weren't like, of course, the guy went out and coached in like jeans and flannel because who cares? But like now, basketball is, I mean, it's an institution, right? It's up on a pedestal, and like you get fined for doing that. And
like professional rugby or something. Like,
totally, yeah.
Sports that are in their infancy as far as like professional leagues are concerned. Like, it wasn't always like what it is now.
I always think about that with media too, because there was a time where it was like the media was on the plane because the league was still kind of just starting up, and that's how you did it. And like we're here at this finished product end of the spectrum, and there's not a lot of that stuff left.
Some of those, though, when you go all the way back to the Wilt stuff, we're going to sound like real millennials here, but some of the Wilt stories are hilarious, where like he played back-to-back games, but he went out gambling in Atlantic City, then drove himself 14 hours to Ohio.
Incredible.
And you're just like, wait, what? And then he scored 60 points. Like, come on, man. Like, I don't know about that.
You know what, though?
It just makes me think, like, I don't know about this league.
This is makes me appreciate James Harden, though. I'm glad James Harden won an MVP because we've got Tom Brady's and LeBron James who are like closer to robots than humans. And then there's James Harden who probably did go to a strip club until 3 a.m. and then drive himself to the game.
His jersey is retired. He has a jersey retired at the strip club.
That's incredible. Wilt the guy you definitely want to see the next 10-part documentary on, though?
Yeah, because he's a myth.
Bring that together.
Yeah, but it's like
he's the next guy for me.
But I'm telling you, MJ's fading into a myth the same way Wilt is. And that's the thing that I see and that's why this documentary is kind of interesting, because to me it feels like the dead cat bounce of his legacy. And I'm not saying that people aren't going to call him the greatest or whatever. It's just the last point where he'll be a person, and then like 10 years from now he's going to be just like Wilt Chamberlain is to me, where it's like, I don't know, man, I don't know. And so that, to me, that's kind of what's interesting, and it all fades.
Yeah. Everybody was talking about that we're going to hate Michael Jordan after this documentary, and that's definitely just not going to happen.
Well, I hear this next one's get spicy.
Yeah. Even with how bad it could get, I mean.
I feel like we would hate Michael Jordan if like Tony Kukoc made this documentary.
Do you want to see the Tony Kukoc doc on the Bulls? I think that'd be great.
The same doc, but he makes it. And
after the '92 Olympics, I legit wanted to quit basketball.
Jarrett, do you think, like, if they were to do this with LeBron, do you think there would be anything new to learn? Like, because we're in this era of it's all happening in real time. We're privy to so much of it on social media and all that stuff. But also, I think LeBron, almost like a Derek Jeter, has done a better job than maybe anyone of keeping stuff in house. Like, are we gonna get this experience of like, ooh, these cool stories we didn't know before?
Yeah, that's definitely a good point, that everything, that so much more is already out there as it's happening in real time. I'm sure there'd be enough for a worthwhile documentary, but I believe he's already made one, is what I've read.
Oh, really?
But I believe he's already made some sort of documentary for his backstory. But
it's going to be straight propaganda, baby.
Yeah,
I can't wait.
It sounded like a puff piece.
Yeah.
He's going to pick himself apart.
That'll be the puffiest of all pieces.
And I can't wait.
There and attack him.
I know.
Yeah.
Real disappointing in 2011 I was. And I'm like, come on, man.
Brendan will be there ready to puff it up even further.
He's going to be like, you know what? I should have scored on JJ Barea. I really.
Jared, who's your favorite Nuggets player? Is the guy
look at that jersey.
Yeah, the jersey behind you.
Jokic right now, though.
Of course.
Okay, all time, who is it?
I don't know, because growing up, the first person I got into was Ty Lawson, but that wasn't a great exit, so.
It was a poor exit.
It was a poor exit. You know what?
Ty Lawson did not stick the landing.
Did not stick the landing, but you know what? Underrated favorite Nugget, man.
I
Ty
love
Lawson
Ty
was a lot of fun.
Lawson.
I feel like the Nuggets, that era Nuggets, is a little bit lost. I mean, everybody talks about 2003 as this conglomerate, but there was some very likable Nuggets in there. Lawson, Gallinari, obviously. Kenneth Faried even had his moment. I think Wilson Chandler was like an interesting. I mean, I'm a little probably too close to this, but he's just interesting. You know what I mean? Like.
Corey Brewer.
The first game I went to, I remember like what happened was the first game they had without Carmelo, when Gallo and Chandler and them came out the tunnel, but they weren't active, so they only had like 8 players, and they beat the T-Wolves.
Oh yeah, that iconic photo.
Should
this
we?
Is a good one. I like when people throw out the real. Oops, where was it? Brian Williams, Bison Dele, favorite Nugget.
Are we?
Portland
I mean, should we allow the Nuggets only 7 to 8 players per game? They seem to win every single one of them.
Jared, we're gonna thanks for hopping on, man. I'm gonna keep this thing rolling. We got a bunch of people here, but
we love you, Jared.
It was really good talking to you, man.
Thank you, guys.
Yo, we'll get you on the steps sometime, brother.
Yeah, for sure. Hop in. We need new steps, people. Now we're bringing on an OG.
Yeah, Peter.
Peter's back.
Oh,
from the PNW. Is that right? That's right. Right. I didn't forget this. You're from Seattle.
Correct.
All right.
Seattle, son.
Seattle, son.
Seattle rain, more likely, but
yeah, I was gonna say
solid.
I was just gonna make a crappy weather joke. What's it like today in Seattle, Peter?
it's actually kind of nice. Like the sun's out. I haven't been outside, obviously,
because you're not allowed.
Yo,
here,
so.
The summer in the PNW is amongst the best things on this.
It is, man.
Dude, it is real nice. It only lasts for 2 months. But
sure does. Sure does.
When we went to Portland last year for the playoffs, it was like just beautiful. It was a real contrast being in Portland for like perfect weather when everyone says it's terrible, then coming back to Denver and it's snowing in May.
I was there for Game 4, and the weather that day was like insanely
outrageous.
Nice.
Right? I think it was the nicest weekend of the year, though.
In Portland,
God,
in Portland,
awesome
yeah.
That was
a
an
good
awesome time.
That was a really good
God.
time.
I remember about half of it. The concussion really put a dent into my experience.
Right. You had a concussion.
The near-death experience. Coming up on a year, by the way.
Wait, what?
Wear your
You
seatbelts.
don't know
folks.
this story, Eric?
Oh,
Tell
that's
us,
right. That's right. He got in an accident. That's right. That's right.
I just remember seeing him at the airport and it being like, wow, this dude.
And then you rattle off some of your
Red.
best. You rattle off some of your best tweets that weekend. What does that
I
say?
did.
Have some great ones.
I did. I wrote a really good column, and I don't remember writing it at all. I read it 2 days later. I'm like, huh, all right.
It just shows you just need to get out of your own way. Like once your brain takes over.
The Denver Stiffs were forcing him to play through injury.
No workers' comp at Denver Stiffs.
There's no concussion protocol for
No concussion protocol.
Apparently, because I asked the doctor if I should get on the plane. He was like, yeah. It's like, have we done like a CAT scan or anything here?
That was TJ.
Oh,
So we're talking. We kind of dipped into this. This is a little bit of a serious, maybe sort of conversation. But Ken Burns made the comment this weekend about that's not real journalism. That's not a real documentary. And I'm of two minds when he was talking about the last game because Jordan approved it. I'm of two minds about this.
Ken Burns said that.
Yeah, Ken Burns.
He's like this. He's like this isn't boring. It's not journalism.
Where are the still photographs? Yeah.
terrible.
Do you guys like? Is anybody here like Ken? I kind of like a Ken Burns.
He's fine. Yeah.
Watch, like an episode of something. You know.
I feel like just knowing that his name is Ken Burns, you know exactly what he's about.
Oh, great take. Great take.
Solid. Yep.
No, but he's not wrong. I'm going to say this. It's really entertaining. It wouldn't have been made and all yada, 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 whatever. There is, I think, a world for these types of things. And this is clearly the world, this celebration of the 98 Bulls, which is really what it's turned out to be. There are blurred lines because there is a little bit of journalism being done, I would say. It's presented as like, here's what happened. So I think it's that. So I kind of see his point. I just think this is the world we live in now. Media is a wide spectrum. Some of it is journalism classics, some of it is a little bit different, and some of it is complete propaganda. And as long as those lines aren't too blurred and they're clear what they are, I think it's fine. And in this case, I think it is. What do you think, Peter? Do you see like a concern for these types of programs?
I mean, yeah, kind of. I think it would have been awesome to get like the full version of this story, but you couldn't get more than like two people to talk about it probably. But for Ken Burns, like if he doesn't like this, you guys kind of touched on this, all right, he's gonna hate the LeBron James documentary,
Right?
Because like he's gonna produce that himself, like his own production company probably.
Right.
So
It's
this at
definitely going to be
least has
called the
some-
King's Court too. I hate it already.
definitely.
I can't wait.
I just think it's the times we're in right
There's
now.
a little bit
and,
of distance, I think,
What a
though.
forced one.
yeah.
It was still
Yeah, it's the times we're in right now, and like to get the buy-in from necessary people, like the companies that have the production capability to pull these things off are like usually tied to players, you know, and
Yeah.
Well, I also like what is
just how things are.
Yeah, but who cares? Like,
Right.
Something was made to be entertaining, and
well,
we're watching it, and like, who cares?
If this
What's
is
the point?
if this is a like definitive account of Jordan's
For what?
career,
like to go into the annals of history, and then we need to compare it against what actually happened, so that the aliens can decide whether or not we.
Well, I mean, for people like me and Vote and other people who were not alive in 1997, 1998, like I would definitely appreciate it if we got some more backstory on the Bulls losing to the Pistons. What was it, 2-3 times straight in
watched the Bad Boys
in the
story.
playoffs?
The only thing,
Yeah, people
I
always
mean,
leave that out when they
Yeah.
talk about the debate. Like, it's
I
like
just
he
don't-
just started winning championships right away.
I don't think this is a new problem. I think there's a very big distinction between documentaries and journalism, journalism, and I actually think far fewer documentary filmmakers set out to do the latter than we think. Ken Burns, I actually think, is in the minority. I think most people are making entertainment. There's an inherent bias to any documentary. I mean, any way you choose to shoot it, you're kind of injecting your own bias into it. And so it's almost like, look, anyone can write a book, right? So it's you as a reader have to say, hey, who's the author? I'm taking this information with a grain of salt. It's on the viewer to do the same thing with this documentary. It's produced. It got greenlit by Jordan. It's on ESPN. Like, it's entertainment, and you just have to trust the consumer to make those distinctions.
So I agree with you on this specific example, but I do think that there is a general shift towards players and just people in general. We're talking strictly about sports, but I think this is across everywhere where people are trying to like share their perspective on the world. There's this shift towards, well, actually, I don't need this like what is supposed to be an objective person. I can do it on my own. And we see this. Let's start with, first of all, the Nuggets are not unique to this. Every NBA team has their own house of writers and media and whatever. But it does seem like it's moving increasingly to like, oh, we need to get an interview with so-and-so out. Let's do it in-house. We need to do this. Let's do it in-house. And, we'll throw a few crumbs to the nonpartisan media, but we want the best access and everything to be in-house. And I see like that as an issue, and it falls along the same line. I think players realize, why should I go do a documentary with ESPN? Why should I participate in this? I'll have my own crew do it, and then I can make sure that thing I don't want out doesn't get out. And to me, again, with this specific Jordan example in the times that we're in, I think it's like, it's like water in a drought. But I do think it's like at least a little bit concerning. So
I know, but you're probably right, but it's just like, who's reading Derek Jeter's piece in the Tribune and thinking like this is an objective account of what went down, as opposed to like Jeter's side of it,
Yeah. I don't know. Just moving slowly in that direction.
Yeah, I mean, as we lose access, it becomes a problem increasingly, for sure.
Peter, what are you doing this weekend? Big plans? Hanging out at the house?
God, that is a good question. Gotta catch up on some 2K. I'm trying to get through this whole Nugget season for sure.
Wow.
We've got a kitten also, so that's gonna take up a lot of time.
What's the
cleaning urine?
We actually, so we just settled on his. Yeah, exactly. We settled on his name today. It is Murray.
Oh,
I knew I should ask that question.
Keep that cat away from social media, please.
A little
right. Yeah. No. And my wife actually knew about that story and still agreed with the name. So I'm a little surprised, but I like it. It's a good cat name. I'm worried though. Does this mean like he's getting traded for sure this summer now? Named our cat after.
You might want to grab it, Bradley.
Yeah.
It does mean that. Just so you know, it does mean that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't buy a jersey.
Depending on how you rate Beal, you're welcome, or I'm sorry.
It's weird that there's momentum for like Murray being traded, because I think the odds of that are so low.
There's no momentum.
There's no momentum for it other than like we're 2 months into nothing to talk about. It's so weird.
You have to generate stuff.
Yeah. Like, it's not a real storyline, to be clear.
I don't think he's getting traded, guys.
Not either.
Nor should they.
But thanks for hopping on, Peter.
Yeah.
I appreciate it, man. We're gonna bring.
We love you, Peter.
A long list here.
Right on. Good to see you guys.
Good
for
to
a
see
walk,
you, man.
Enjoy the sunshine.
All right, next up in our queue here, Cade Walker.
Oh, baby, Kate.
How's it going, guys?
Long time no see. Look at that hair. It's getting long. It's poking
Look at
out.
you.
It is ridiculous.
Do you have a little beard going, Cade?
A little bit.
Let me see. Let me judge.
Look at that. Oh, wow.
Let me judge it against Brendan's.
Wow.
Welcome to the show, Kate. We bully each other live on the internet.
Oh, yeah, there's nothing there.
I shave, baby.
Okay. All right.
Happy birthday, Harrison.
Yeah,
Thanks, man. Thanks, Kate. Thanks to all the other birthday wishes in the chat.
Kate has
Appreciate
requested that he sing you happy birthday, so I pulled up a.
Oh, perfect.
The floor is yours, Kate.
The floor is yours. Go ahead.
Don't disappoint us. Don't back down.
I'm not gonna make you do this to a soft instrumental guitar. Happy birthday. So another topic here. My guy Keith Smith is the one that threw this out. I have to give him credit for it, but he has said that everybody was talking about Vegas or Los Angeles. Like, let's throw these players there. He threw out Disney World, which I love. And now it sounds like Disney World, if there was to be this bubble event, might actually be the best candidate. Tons of hotels, solid weather, lots of facilities. So I'm interested. Kate, I'm going to ask you, would you prefer, not that this matters to us that much, but would you prefer these guys being in a Vegas, like Thomas and Mack style arena, or Disney World?
Well, I think Disney World was mentioned because, like you said, like the logistics work really well. There's a ton of hotels. I mean, there's a ton of hotels in Vegas too, but I think the facilities are a little bit more probably safe and closed off in Disney World than they are in Vegas.
Yeah.
I mean, Vegas is like designed around people interacting with each other for the most part. So
are people still going to Vegas? Like, is Vegas still, it's not open, is it?
No, it's closed. Everything's
all
closed.
Of Vegas, so there's nothing going on. So I guess part of it is I think of Vegas as being busier and dirtier, certainly hotter.
Right.
But maybe It is dirty, but maybe it's not. Maybe all this stuff is just nobody's there. So it isn't this ghost town or that ghost town.
I also don't know, but I certainly wouldn't be shocked if the Disney facilities are just straight up superior. Just actually better courts. And
wait, what are these Disney facilities?
Dude, Disney, just if there's a thing that you can think of, Disney has one, and that includes basketball courts and baseball stadiums. Is
this like do the Magic play there? What are these Disney facilities?
They host event. There's like tournament baseball and college basketball tournaments that are hosted at Disney World. Yep.
Yeah.
Who's been to Disney World? Show of hands.
When I was very young.
No,
7 times.
Hasn't been. You've been 7 times to Disney World. I guess the East Coast.
I grew up privileged, baby. I had a hot tub. Shit was dope. And then I threw it all away to become a sports writer.
And now you don't even
terrible.
Now you don't even have enough wall coverings to make a proper set. Like how far you've fallen.
Vo is heading towards Wall Street now.
Harrison and I are getting bullied. Like we don't own stuff. We live in apartments. Like we're millennials. Leave us alone.
How is Disney World? Pretty great.
Yeah, it's awesome. Are you kidding?
Yeah,
it's incredible.
My girls are like the perfect age to take them. I probably would have this summer.
You should go now. Prices
don't let them know. Yeah, don't let them know that Vote has been 7 times. That's not going to go over well.
That will be tough. Another question here I wanted to ask. This is like we're really bouncing around now, but I think you'd be interesting for this, Cade. This summer specifically, both the draft and free agency, I think, are going to be absolutely absurd. But which one do you think will be more important for the Nuggets to sort of stick, the draft or free agency?
Well, I think, like in Nuggets history, I think the draft has been more important for us. I mean, we haven't really had any, like major free agent signings aside from like Paul Millsap. I mean, maybe we could get someone to a mid-level, but I don't know how much cap flexibility we even have. So I think if we nail someone in the draft, like we're probably going to pick around like 22, 23, right? So, I mean, I've paid attention a little bit to the prospects. And I mean,
do you have one? Because I haven't even turned my attention there yet.
Yeah, you're ahead of us.
I like Sadiq Bey a little bit.
I like him too, Cade. I like him too.
Yeah,
green D guy. He gives me some Otto Porter vibes.
He gives me some OG Anunoby vibes.
Yeah.
Oh, please. Another chance.
And I mean, even Tyler Bay, actually, I think there's a little bit. He's a great defender. He has a little bit of concern, like with his shooting, but there's some indicators that he has some room to improve as a shooter.
He gives me Andre Robertson vibes,
for sure,
as a better shooter.
He's got an NBA body, definitely.
Yeah. So both of the Bays, I'm a big fan of.
Yeah.
What do you think, Harrison? Draft or free agency bigger for Denver?
Probably free agency, just because they got a lot of free agents up.
Yeah,
they
can really get cleaned out.
They're gonna have to work out a contract with one of Paul Millsap and Mason Plumlee, probably Paul Millsap, I would think. Torrey Craig's up. They got to get another guard, so they have some work to do in free agency and not a lot of money to do it with. So they'll have to be pretty strategic in what they do.
Yeah, this is funny. Adam and I talk about this a lot. Like. I haven't shifted my focus towards free agency and draft at all because we're not officially in the off season. We are in purgatory. Like we don't know if we need to be focusing on the lineups and whether or not Michael Porter Jr. should be getting minutes and everybody's getting healed up, or if we just need to turn the page and start really focusing on that draft. It's a really strange place to be.
Well, I saw the draft might not take place until October or late September, so we've got a while to go until.
What the hell is going on?
I'm telling you,
going on.
Part of me, I just want to use this graphic, but here it is. Boom! Look at that.
Yeah,
I've been waiting, but I've got a bit of a half court heave. I don't. This is like below 50% chance, but I'm just feeling it. I think we'll find something out in the next 7 days, and I'm not saying we'll find out like, oh, it's on, and this is how it works. I just think there'll be some type of major update. I feel like there's been a lot of I do feel like there's been some momentum towards. And the announcement might come in the form of, here's our plan. We have 2 weeks to figure out if we can get the logistics in order. And if not, we'll cancel the season. Just something that updates like, oh, okay, this is the time frame we're working with. This is the possibilities or something. So I think that comes out in the next 7 days. I just think there's some kind of update. That's a half-court heave. It's a long one.
Like the MLB has been working towards coming up with a plan. Like they've already like rearranged divisions. Like they have this whole out proposal and playing games in like the Cactus and Grapefruit League between like Arizona and Florida. I mean, so they have a full blown proposal. It's knocking on the doorstep of being.
But the difference between that and the NBA is that they are operating under the notion that they can just start something entirely crazy to start the season, to have it be its own entity. And the NBA is trying to figure out, like, should we pick up from where we left off?
Right. How do we put a bow on
Like,
this?
how do we, like, what do we do with what's already in motion? Which is more complicated in a lot of ways.
Well, do you think that any players, fans, like, let's say they resume this season, like they just go to the playoffs, right? As is. Is anyone going to view this as any more or less legitimate of a title? Like,
Oh, yeah. Are you kidding me? This is probably going to be the biggest asterisk ever.
but would there
Except-
be validity to that? Like
Yeah.
losing these games in like March, April. You know what I mean?
Oh, I see what you
like,
mean.
yeah, like I don't know. Would that be fair? Like, I
Nothing's
don't know.
fair. Life's not
Yeah.
fair, Brandon.
I think if LeBron wins this, it's going to be a very legitimate championship. If
That's so true.
Giannis wins this, I don't know.
Oh, yeah, if Giannis
I was
wins
going to say,
it,
like, if James Harden wins this and this is his only championship, they're going to be like,
yeah.
oh, well, James Harden never won a championship
Right.
except for that 1 year.
It's
Right.
so tough because Tim Duncan, nobody ever talks about 99 being a lot. Like, 99 was a kind of a ridiculous season. There was back-to-back-to-backs. They were, like, really ridiculous schedule, and it got real condensed. Half the league was out of shape. And everybody looks back and says Tim Duncan got 5. Now, I do wonder if that was the only one, would we have been like, I don't know, he has a half championship.
Right.
You know, that might have mattered. So I do think
Yeah.
it matters who won. But as you
Even that
mentioned-
compared to this, though, feels so much different. Like, this just feels so much more drastic.
LeBron first championship was a lockout season too. If you guys remember, 2012 was a lockout. Now that lockout wasn't like 99. It was still more or less a full season. I think it was 66 games, and it didn't feel that condensed. But still, the point is, nobody really talks about that stuff after it's done. You
Right.
move on and you just count it. But we're gonna move on too. Kate, thanks so much, man, for hopping in.
Yeah, thanks for
We
having
love
me,
you,
guys.
Kate.
Thanks,
Take it
Kate.
easy. Now we're gonna bring on my guy Darwin.
Yeah,
Another
Darwin.
Seattle.
Oh,
Another All
man.
Pacific Northwest today.
Bang, bang, bang.
Yeah, it's really nice. I can actually see the Olympics from where I'm sitting right now.
Oh, that's
The
nice
Olympics.
flex. Nice
The
flex.
mountains.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, not the
apparently, 50 years ago, they were called the Alps of America. It's a
Alright.
really
See-
weird take, but
When really, they're just a bunch of volcanoes that are going to end you all someday.
yeah, more or less.
Well, what a
Happy
downer,
birthday,
Eric.
Thanks, Darwin. Appreciate it. Man.
Adam Heichelheim, I think I have that right. Probably have it wrong. He has a great point here. MLB is open air. Social distancing is built in. It's kind of true. Everybody is spread out on the playing field. The NBA sweaty, bumping into each other. I go back to Gobert must have had this for quite a while. Shared a locker room, played this game, shared a basketball, shared all these different things, and it was limited. No, that doesn't mean anything. You are right. It did spread across the league. There were players, another one on the Jazz, a couple of rounds. So it is certainly more contagious than baseball. But I don't know I don't see a situation where baseball comes back but basketball doesn't. I think if one of the
Right.
sports comes back, I think they're all going to try it.
I think
Oh, for
baseball is tricky just because there's so many guys.
Yeah.
We're talking about like essential personnel for the NBA. It's probably double that for baseball.
So this is where we get dumb. Like whenever people talk about soccer that don't like soccer, it's like they should make the goal bigger. And it's like this is the dumbest rule you can't. But this is how I feel with baseball. Is it might be fun if there was only 11 guys. That's like your pitcher has to just keep throwing. They rotate. The first baseman has to now pitch. I think that would be a fun one. Why not? Why not? What do you think of that one, Vote? You're a baseball guy.
I'd pray for the pitchers, man.
Yeah.
Play for like those arms aren't going to make it. There's a reason we do it this way.
All right, you guys know what time. That was a ridiculous idea. It's time for Online with D-Line. Hold on here.
Oh,
There we
God.
go. There we go. Online with D-Line. Darwin, are you old enough to know what that is?
Yeah, yeah. Also, I grew up in Montana, so we had dial-up till
Oh, baby.
5 years ago.
yeah.
Well, the first tweet I have here is probably the most important tweet. Let's take a look at it.
Important like that.
Happy birthday to the
Hey.
wind in our sails and our turbines, the legend at Harrison Wind.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Man, I just because we were doing the show, I downloaded the most melodramatic happy birthday song.
This is happy birthday? This is awful.
Yeah,
It's like so slow.
It's sultry in a way that I'm not comfortable with.
it's almost like a different song altogether.
Can
Yeah,
you
yeah.
scroll down to my Kyrie Irving Great Gatsby gif,
Oh,
Eric?
look at this. Oh, wow.
Yeah, dude, what the hell is that?
Is that not incredible?
Yes, I agree. It is not incredible.
I'm with TJ.
All right, so let's see. Let's go around the web here. What do we got
29,
first?
man. 30. I'm telling you, 30 is a tough one. Harrison, just be ready. 30 is a little
Yeah,
bit.
I've already decided 30 is the last birthday I'm like really gonna celebrate if I can celebrate a birthday next year. So,
So this was referenced on yesterday's show, so I thought I'd actually bring it so we could talk about it. This so-called the frog workout.
Didn't you say you could do this or something?
No. I didn't say that. I said what this man is doing is just like a very fast. Like the work that he's doing is not like totally out of bounds. Like people do this, they just don't do it at this.
People
speed.
don't do this.
This speed is what makes this crazy. And but then the hop at the end, that's where.
Yeah, that's the part.
It's pretty difficult to reconcile that.
I could not even do that like forward trust fall onto my elbows. Like that's insane in its own right.
Do you think we could get it? Do you think we could get Darwin to try and do this live for a shirt?
I don't need a shirt, man.
Is this more effective than
He's
just
like,
like
I got enough shirts.
holding a pipe?
This is like my work. I do similar things.
Okay, so this is uncomfortable. No one should do this. This is definitely he's going to injure himself. Let's see, what else do we have here? So, obviously, all we're talking about is MJ and The Last Dance every day. That's all we talk about. But all the same, ESPN has, in a very clear visual way, shown the difference between today's game and Jordan's NBA. And you can just see where the most common jump shot locations happen now. And it's just what the Rockets do. It's just behind the three-point arc.
I love these
right down the
graphs,
lane.
man. There were absolutely 0 mid-range shots taken this year, it turns
Yeah.
out. Look, absolutely none.
It might be slightly misleading.
It is a little misleading, but like in his defense, though, like if you put a heat map and you include every shot, then it's just going to be like
Just
nonsense.
I know.
Yeah.
Can't you weigh it for where the shots come from? The one I'll tell you, the shot that gets eliminated that is kind of a dumb one is that baseline, Jay. Like that baseline 15-footer is really a dumb, like just moving it back a few feet.
Don't tell Marcus Aldridge that.
It's crazy because that in Jordan's NBA was the most common shot if this chart is to be believed.
Yeah. Well, you know the Issel missile, that was the baseline jumper, the baseline 18-footer.
Why is that? Doesn't it feel like shooting it straight on where you have the complement and the backboard to work with?
Yeah, but it's floor balance. It's about where do you drag that. Honestly, the corners, and this is why sometimes when we talk about modern basketball, Moist, I think people think of this immediately, but the corners really do stretch the defense, and they're worth another point. So, look at that little hot map right there on the baseline. You're only moving back a few feet, but it stretches the defense in a very specific way.
So anyway, it's also this looks a little bit like a Rorschach test. So Brendan, what do you see in Jordan's NBA? What does that look like?
Let's move on.
It's LeBron James, isn't it? That's what you see.
A robot. You guys don't see a robot? I had a lot of good material.
22 years ago today, he got game released by Spike Lee, giving Jesus Shuttlesworth the name to Ray Allen, who was in this movie, and it carried with him the rest of his career. Did you guys see this movie? He got game?
Of course.
Wait, Darwin, no?
No.
Wow. Missing a classic.
Yeah, I've got like a backlog of classics. I'm like a little bit too young to.
Okay.
The movie came out when I was like 8. So
you weren't seeing a lot of Spike Lee joints at age 8.
Spike Lee joints.
Plus, like most sports movies are really bad. I'm not saying this one is. I know. I'm just.
Oh, this one is fucking terrible. So what do we got? What do we think of the name? What do we think of the name?
Illegal Pete's does not endorse that opinion.
Why do you think it's terrible? Because I've never really heard that argument.
It's melodramatic. It's over the top. The
sports movies, but
yeah, but that's to Brendan's point. Like, is it a good sports movie? It's a fine sports movie. Is it a good movie? Not particularly.
I kind of like that, Eric.
What do you guys think of the name Jesus Shuttlesworth?
It's an incredible name. Incredible.
Somebody had to come up with that and write it down.
I mean, it's iconic, man. It's still. I do actually think of him as Jesus Shuttlesworth. Actually,
yeah, I think it actually is iconic. And then there's the story. You remember the story that he tells about it, so I dig it.
Okay.
Putting nicknames on the back of jerseys was the best and the worst thing the NBA's ever done.
Yeah, that was short-lived, huh?
I actually loved it, but It's absolutely ridiculous.
Jokic would be such a legend if he put Big Honey on the back of a jersey.
He would never do it.
He
Oh
would
my
never
God.
do it. But this is where athletes, man, they always decide the lamest thing when they're trying to protect themselves. It's like, no, run with this dorky nickname, man. It's awesome.
No, the nickname thing ruled because not everyone has nicknames. Like, what do you put on Thomas Welsh's jersey for a nickname?
You put like
Brandon
TW.
Yeah, T-Dub.
T-Dub 45.
T-Money? Tom. Just Tom.
Big Tom, maybe.
Big Tom.
Yes,
yeah.
Big Tom.
You're right.
Let's see. What else do we got? What else do we got today? Michael Jordan reportedly was offered $100 million to go to an event that he had to appear at for 2 hours.
I love this.
And
I
he
love
said
this.
no.
Wow.
He said no.
I love this.
I don't know.
You know?
I don't know. No, I don't know. I looked into it a little bit further. They were purposefully vague. I think more the issue was that he had to also lend his name and his essentially endorse whatever company it was. But what is What is the smallest amount of money that you would turn down to go to any event? If I offered you to be an event for 2 hours, where's the tipping point where you would say?
If it was an event I really didn't want to attend, right? And not for moral reasons, just like, oh, I don't want to go to this.
Let's take the morality aspect out of it for this. Yeah.
Good call.
I mean, are we talking like
We could make it
$100? Where are you? Where's your number, Brendan?
Well, I love this because as someone who turns stuff down all the time, I love the idea that the spectrum runs all the way to 100 million. Like, you know what? Not doing it. I just don't want to today. But Michael Jordan and I have had very different lives.
I'd say that. Yeah, that's true.
And so given my financial situation, I'd $30 probably.
$30. Wow.
Yeah.
Take note, everyone on the internet. If you want Brendan to appear for 2 hours, it's going to cost you $15 every hour.
What
about you, Harrison? Now that
this program called what is it? Cameo?
Yes, this program. You are so old. This program.
You know what it is, right? Like it's an app where you can hire people. Everybody sets a fee. We should make one. What do you think your fee would be on Cameo to do like a 2 hour opinion? What do you think it would
Darwin,
be?
what would you pay? What would you pay to have
Hundo spot?
What would you pay to have Brendan Vogt record a personal tweet for you?
Probably like $20.
Oh, wow! Undervaluing yourself by $19.80, Brendan.
I'm telling you, I think we need to start doing this. $20 just to record a video. You would do.
I'll say anything to anyone. $20. You guys know where to find me.
That's how you wind up with Brett Favre like recording Nazi shit, right?
Right. Yeah, I'll probably draw the line there. Yeah. But everything short of Nazi shit, I'm with it.
So okay, do we Harrison? Do you have a number?
$100.
$100. Adam, do you have a number?
$300. I'm more expensive. These guys.
Yeah.
$300.
$100 for 2 hours. I'd do that.
Yeah, I think
$50 an hour.
I think I'd probably. I feel like I'm worth more. I go like $103.
I do have to, after paying him all that respect, I do have to slip a hardcore leftist point in here. Just do it and donate the money, dude. That's a lot of money. Like, come
on. Let's see. So one last thing, a little self-serving here. Action Network with our boy Matt Moore came on here, sunk the chances of a 15-year-old kid of winning a sticker pack. But the Action Network is giving away money to any local sports bars and breweries. You've never been to the DNVR bar, neither has Adam. But if you feel free to throw our name in the hat, our hat in the ring, if you're so choose. Anyway, and that was Online with D-Line.
Hey. And I guess that's thank you so much for coming on, Darwin. That was fun, dude.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Always.
All right, take it easy. And that's it for this week's shows. This was good. This was a fun week.
It was a good week.
I had fun. I had fun today. I had fun yesterday. I had fun Wednesday.
You guys, what's the protocol for a number
Jared,
you don't have saved in your?
Jared hasn't played the step, so if you want to,
what do you mean? What do you mean
somebody wishing you a happy birthday? You
yeah,
don't know who it
from
is?
A number you don't know.
I'm so bad.
What's the protocol on that?
You have to text back new birthday. Who dis?
Yeah, new protagonist. Yeah, it's gotta be charming.
I've gotten so paranoid about that I've lost French. Like I've never even bothered to find out who it was or get back to them.
I just have no idea who this person is.
Yeah, you just got to say new phone. Who dis?
I hope it's a good friend watching this pod.
Yeah, hopefully they're watching. Hopefully.
Oh wait, there's Jarrett. I was gonna say we're gonna play the steps. We need a new participant, and we have one. We're bringing
back.
We're back.
Are you ready to climb the steps?
Like Jordan, he's back.
Sure.
I love it.
All right,
I love that about Jared.
Let's do it. Hold on here. Let me get everything lined up here.
Excuse me.
All right. We have to go quick. We apparently have a company meeting. You guys remember this?
Yeah, in an hour.
Oh, there's my questions. They're up here. Okay. All right. Question number 1. Who was the starting center on opening night of the 2020 season?
The starting what? I'm sorry, I had the double open.
Center.
Jokic.
Okay, yeah, that was easy. I was like, man,
Yeah,
come
that
on.
was good.
Come on, bro.
Don't worry, they're all going to be that easy. Just relax.
They're all, except for one. In 2007, the Denver Nuggets traded Andre Miller, Joe Smith, and 2 first-round draft picks to the Philadelphia 76ers for this Hall of Fame guard.
Iverson.
There it is.
Oh,
Alan
baby.
Iverson. Correct. It sounded like a tough question, but it was in fact easy.
Right.
Number 3 is kind of hard. What country is Vlatko Cancar from?
Oh, jeez. Is he all from? No.
You get no helpers today either.
He can get me one time.
No.
Although the helpers are kind of a...
Yeah. For Jared, he's allowed to ask each of the 3 Stooges here one question. Not Adam, because he made the questions.
All right, fine, whatever. Brandon, that it's a year dive. These prizes are coming out of.
We're feeling generous on a Friday.
If I can, I'll go to Harrison for this one if he knows.
Harrison.
I will say Slovenia.
Oh, okay. I'll go with that. Is he Slovenian?
Oh, wow.
I was going to say Serbia, but then I realized that's not.
He does
Good
speak
choice.
some Serbian,
Yeah,
though. He does speak some
The
Serbian.
Slovenian basketball factory.
What former Nuggets player led the NBA in scoring for the entirety of the 1980s?
Is that English?
It's always
That is-
English.
Just cruising through.
It's always English. All right,
It's
the big
always
one.
English.
Number 5.
Oh, baby. Oh, baby.
This was another tough one. Which player received the most assists from Nikola Jokic this season?
From Jamal Murray.
Final answer?
Yeah.
All right, so Jared, you want a sticker pack? You can keep it, move on, go into our weekend, or risk it all. Try to go for a shirt.
I got to get a different shirt than what Brendan has, so
I've got a lot of them, though.
I only have one. So
I like that that's the motivation, too. All right, number 6.
Cool it in the chat, too, guys. Cool it in the chat.
What's going on in the chat here? What am I missing? How
We
many?
had a Slovenia entrance.
Yeah. Chat's got to be quiet. Chat's got to be quiet. How many times have the Denver Nuggets made the first pick in the NBA draft?
0.
Wow, I thought this one was going to be tough. Look at him, man.
I just keep knowing that they've only moved down in the lottery, never.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah.
This is so great. That's so great. Real OG right there. We'll find out if you're a real OG. Who led the Nuggets in assists during the 2013 NBA season?
I'm thinking either Ty Lawson or Gallo. I'm gonna go with Lawson. I don't feel good about it.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Oh,
It's all about the suspense in this show.
the suspense. Another tough one.
Not for him.
not for my guy Jared. Where did Carmelo? Or I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
Was that the answer? Move along.
Can
Move
this
along.
be the teaser, please? That's so good.
Where did Jeremy Grant attend college?
Oh yeah. Okay. Do I still get my question?
You can still ask. Yeah, you can still have D-line vote if you need to use it.
Oh, you went to the wrong guy for this one, man.
D-line?
Oh,
He was hoping you didn't ask for it.
Yeah.
where did Jeremy Grant go to college?
Yeah. I don't know college at all. So
Yeah, I don't either. You definitely picked the wrong guy. Let's see here.
I'll give you a hint though.
Okay, go to vote. Go to vote. You didn't ask me.
Sure.
Vote. Do you know the answer? Vote. Help me.
I
out.
know that Adam just said Carmelo Anthony by accident, so I strongly suggest you guess
Oh,
Syracuse.
Syracuse. Yeah.
Did he go to Syracuse as well? I'll go with that.
Final answer.
Sure.
Nice.
Oh wow!
Reasoning there, vote.
Deductive reasoning. Incredible.
Who has number 9? Who has the Denver Nuggets single season record for box plus minus?
English.
Ah!
Oh!
It was a good run.
Out of here. Do you guys know?
It's got to be
Jokic.
Dave Thompson.
Jokic.
It's Jokic. It is Jokic.
The answer is always Jokic.
Guys,
The answer is, yeah, the
He's
advanced
one of the greatest players of all time. Like, don't
So
be
is English.
surprised.
So is
Tough
English.
one for a guy, Jared. Man, he was good though. He was
Yeah,
very
sure.
cool. Was that the 10th question? Was that a shirt?
I
No,
think
that
it
was-
was.
No, that was
Oh,
not.
No, it was the
Nine,
next
yeah.
one.
You know, so what did we get? Oh, a good week. A good week for the steps. We had some intrigue. Good week of guests. Tommy Balchetta, Seth Partnow, Matt Moore.
Tommy bracelets.
Tommy
Hey,
Brady.
Tommy bracelets.
If you're looking for more hijinks and hilarity, I'm hosting a game night tonight. Is it 8 o'clock, Adam?
Yeah.
8 o'clock, we're going to play some Jackbox games, have some fun, drink some beers, just come hang out. Won't quite be our draft coverage, but it'll be worth your time, I think. So,
It'll
come
be
hang
our
out.
draft beer coverage.
Yeah,
It's the
exactly.
closest thing I'm gonna have to a birthday party this year.
That's the saddest thing I've ever heard.
That is
The
sad. But it will be
saddest
fun.
birthday.
I'll be there as well. Probably a few beers drink. All right. Good night, everybody. Have a great weekend.